In just 34 seconds, a seemingly innocent question turns into the most explosive meltdown in television history. One moment, the guest is smiling and waving to fans. The next, voices are raised, accusations are flying, and security is hovering in the wings. This is the story of how a simple interview became a career-defining disaster that nobody saw coming. Andy Cohen sits behind his iconic desk at Watch What Happens Live, his signature energy filling the studio. The lights are bright, carefully positioned to create that perfect talk show glow. The audience is buzzing with excitement, their phones already out and ready to capture every moment. Tonight's guest is someone everyone has been dying to see. Meghan Markle walks onto the set in a designer gown that probably costs more than most people make in a year. The fabric shimmers under the studio lights. Every detail is perfect, from her hair to her jewelry to her confident stride. The audience erupts into applause, some people even standing up in their excitement. She waves graciously, blows a few kisses to the crowd, and settles into the guest chair with a practiced smile that she has perfected over years in the spotlight. Andy leans forward with his trademark grin. His voice is warm and welcoming as he starts the conversation. "Welcome to the show! We are so excited to have you here," Andy says, gesturing to the cheering crowd. Meghan nods, adjusting her position in the chair. "Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here." The first few minutes go smoothly. They talk about fashion, and Meghan lights up when discussing her favorite designers. She mentions a recent charity gala she attended, describing the event with enthusiasm. Andy asks about her recent projects, and she talks about a podcast she's been working on, a children's book she wrote, and some philanthropic work that she's passionate about. They chat about some light-hearted stories about life in California, the beautiful weather, the amazing restaurants she's discovered. Andy asks about her favorite places to eat, and she rattles off a few names with detailed descriptions of the food. He asks about her skincare routine, and she gives a lengthy answer about organic products and wellness practices. These are the kind of easy questions that keep a talk show moving, the kind that let guests shine without any pressure. Meghan answers with practiced ease, her responses polished and media-trained. She's done this 1,000 times before. Every pause is perfectly timed, every anecdote carefully chosen. Everything seems perfectly normal. The audience is engaged, laughing at the right moments, nodding along with her stories. Andy seems genuinely interested, is asking follow-up questions that show he's listening. It feels like any other celebrity interview. But then Andy shifts gears. He leans back in his chair, his tone still friendly, but with a hint of curiosity. He asks a question that seems innocent enough on the surface. "So, a lot of people have been curious about your relationship with the royal family these days. How are things going with them?" The energy in the room shifts instantly. You can feel it like a sudden drop in temperature. The audience members who were smiling a second ago now exchange glances with each other, sensing something has changed. Meghan's smile tightens, just a fraction, almost imperceptibly, but the camera catches it. Her shoulders tense. Her hands, which had been gesturing naturally throughout the conversation, now grip the armrests of the chair. She pauses for a beat too long before responding, and in that silence, you can hear the tension building. "Well, Andy, I think it's important to remember that families are complicated," she says, her voice measured, but with an edge creeping in. "Not everyone understands what it's like to be in my position." Andy nods, sensing he might be onto something. He keeps his voice gentle, non-confrontational. "Of course, I can only imagine, but I know a lot of our viewers are wondering if there's been any progress, any healing." Meghan lets out a small laugh, but there's no humor in it. It's the kind of laugh that makes everyone uncomfortable, the kind that says everything is not okay. "Progress? Healing?" She shakes her head slowly, deliberately. Her eyes are hard now, no longer sparkling with the charm she showed minutes ago. "You know what, Andy? I don't think you understand what it's like to be constantly criticized, to have every single thing you do twisted into something negative. Do you have any idea what that feels like? To wake up every morning knowing that someone, not somewhere, is writing lies about you? To see your face on magazine covers with headlines that aren't even true? To have people judge you without knowing a single fact about your life? The audience goes quiet. You could hear a pin drop. People are looking at each other, wondering if this is part of the show, if this is staged. But the tension is too real. Andy keeps his composure, his professional smile still in place, though his eyes show concern. He knows this is going off the rails, but he's been in this business long enough to know how to handle it. I think a lot of people in the public eye can relate to that feeling. It's definitely not easy. I'm not going to pretend it is. But I was just asking about your family. It was meant to be a simple question. I wasn't trying to upset you or bring up anything painful. I thought it was a reasonable thing to ask, given everything that's been in the news. Meghan's eyes narrow. She leans forward, her voice rising slightly, cutting through the quiet studio. My family? You want to talk about my family? Let me tell you something about my family. They have done nothing but make my life miserable from day one. From the moment I walked into that world, I was judged. I was criticized. I was treated like I wasn't good enough. And now, after everything I've been through, after all the pain and the suffering and the absolute nightmare of it all, I have to sit here and answer questions about whether there's been healing. Maybe the question should be whether they deserve healing. Maybe the question should be whether they've done anything to earn forgiveness. Did you ever think about that, Andy? Andy raises his eyebrows, but maintains his calm demeanor. He's dealt with difficult guests before. He's navigated tense moments. He knows this is heading somewhere explosive, but he's a professional. He's been doing this for years. He's interviewed hundreds of celebrities, politicians, reality stars. He knows how to handle difficult guests. He's seen meltdowns before. But something about this feels different. The raw anger in her voice, the way she's leaning forward in her chair like she's ready to pounce. He takes a breath and keeps his voice level. I understand you've been through a lot. I'm not trying to diminish that at all. I'm really not. I'm just asking the question a lot of people are curious about. That's what this show is about. Having conversations about things people are interested in. If you don't want to talk about it, that's completely fine. We can move on to something else. Meghan laughs again, and this time it's bitter, harsh, cutting through the air like a knife. A lot of people are curious. A lot of people need to mind their own business. This is exactly the problem. This is what I'm talking about. Everyone thinks they're entitled to know every detail of my life, every thought in my head, every feeling I have. They think because I'm in the public eye, because I'm married into a certain family, that means they own me. That means they get to dissect everything I do and say. Well, guess what? They're not. And neither are you. You don't get to sit there behind your desk and act like you're owed answers just because you have a TV show. The studio falls into stunned silence. The cameras continue rolling, capturing every second of this disaster unfolding in real time. But some audience members are leaning forward in their seats, unable to believe what they're witnessing. Others look uncomfortable, shifting their weight, avoiding eye contact with the stage. A few people in the back are already pulling out their phones, texting friends about what's happening. Andy's smile fades just a bit, but he keeps his voice steady, controlled, professional. Meghan, I'm not trying to invade your privacy. This is a talk show. We ask questions. That's kind of the whole point. You agreed to come on and chat. You knew what this was when you said yes. That's all I'm trying to do here. Have a conversation. If there are certain topics you don't want to discuss, I completely respect that. But you don't get to attack me for doing my job. Meghan's face flushes red. Her chest is rising and falling rapidly, her breathing quick and shallow. She sits up straighter, her voice getting louder, more aggressive. Chat. You call this chatting? This is interrogation. This is you grilling me about my personal life, about the most painful experiences I've ever had, about people who have hurt me deeply, who have made me question everything about myself. And you're acting like it's all just fun and games. Like this is entertainment for your viewers. This isn't chatting, Andy. This is exploitation. This is you using my pain, my trauma, my suffering to get ratings, to get clicks, to get people talking. That's all this is. That's all it ever is. Andy takes a breath, his professionalism tested, but holding strong. He's trying to be patient, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but there's a limit. I really don't think it's fair to say I'm exploiting you. You came on this show voluntarily. Nobody forced you to be here. I'm asking questions that are relevant to your public life, questions that people are interested in hearing answered. If you didn't want to talk about it, but you could have said that when we were planning this interview. You could have said that 2 seconds ago when I first asked. I would have respected that and moved on. I always respect my guests' boundaries, but you can't come on a talk show and then get angry when the host asks you questions. That's literally what this is. Meghan stands up abruptly. The movement is so sudden, so violent, that her chair rocks backward slightly. The microphone clipped to her dress crackles with the sudden movement, the sound echoing through the speakers and making everyone in the studio wince. Some audience members gasp. Others lean back in their seats, startled by the aggressive motion. Respect? You want to talk about respect? You don't respect me. None of you do. Not you, not the media, not the public. You just want me here so you can get ratings off my pain. So you can dissect me like I'm some kind of specimen in a lab. Well, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not sitting here letting you treat me like this. I'm not giving you the satisfaction. Andy stays seated, deliberately keeping his body language non-threatening. His hands are raised in a calming gesture, palms out, trying to bring the temperature down. His voice is soft, measured, the voice of someone trying to talk someone off a ledge. Meghan, please sit down. Please. Let's talk about this like adults. If I said something that upset you, I sincerely apologize. That was never my intention. That's never my intention with any of my guests. We can change the subject. We can talk about whatever you want. We can talk about your charity work, your projects, your hopes for the future. Whatever makes you comfortable. Just please, sit back down and let's figure this out together. But Meghan isn't listening. She's completely checked out of the conversation. Her eyes are wild, unfocused. She's pacing now, in back and forth across the small space in front of Andy's desk. Her heels click loudly against the studio floor, each step echoing through the silent room. The sound is sharp, aggressive, filling the space. The audience watches in shocked silence, their eyes following her movements, like spectators at a tennis match. Some people have their phones out now, not even trying to be discreet about it. They're recording everything, already thinking about the views they'll get when they post this online. This is going to be everywhere by morning. Every social media platform, every news website, every entertainment show. This moment is being captured from a dozen different angles. Whatever I want. How about what I want is to not be here? How about what I want is for people like you to stop pretending you care about me when all you care about is your show? All you care about is getting that viral clip, getting that moment that everyone will be talking about tomorrow. Well, congratulations, Andy. You got it. You got your moment. Are you happy now? Andy stands up now, too. His movement is slower, more deliberate than hers. He's not trying to intimidate or match her energy. He's simply showing that he won't be walked over. His voice is still calm but firmer now, with an edge of steel underneath. Meghan, I do care. I wouldn't have invited you on this show if I didn't care. I invited you here because I wanted to have a genuine conversation with you. I wanted to give you a platform to share your story, to connect with people who are interested in your life and your work. If you're uncomfortable, if this has become too much, we can end the interview right now. I will walk off this stage with you, and we can talk privately. But you don't get to stand here and accuse me of not caring. You don't get to stand here and tell me that I'm only interested in ratings when I've spent the last however many years building a show based on respect and honest conversation. That's not fair to me, and it's not fair to what I do. Meghan whirls around to face him, her dress swirling with the motion. Her expression is furious, her eyes blazing with an intensity that makes even Andy take a small step back. Her voice is loud now, almost shouting, filling every corner of the studio. Not fair? You want to talk about what's not fair? What's not fair is that I came here trying to be nice, trying to be cooperative, trying to promote my work and have a pleasant conversation, and you ambush me with questions about the worst time in my life, the most traumatic experiences I've ever had. You drag up all that pain, all that suffering, and you act like it's just another topic for discussion. What's not fair is that you sit there in your comfortable little studio, in your designer clothes, making millions of dollars while people like me are out here getting destroyed by the media every single day. Getting torn apart, getting called every name imaginable, having our every move scrutinized and criticized, and then people like you have the nerve to ask us why we're upset, why we're angry, why we're defensive. Andy's jaw tightens. You can see him taking a breath, counting to 3 in his head. He's been patient. He's been understanding, but there's only so much a person can take. There's only so much disrespect someone should have to endure, even from a hurting guest. I didn't ambush you. I asked one question about your family. One question, a question that is completely fair game, considering how much you and your family have been in the news. And for the record, I work very hard for everything I have. Every single day. I've built this show from the ground up. I've earned my place here through years of dedication and effort. I'm sorry you're going through a tough time. I really, truly am. I wouldn't wish that pain on anyone. But that doesn't give you the right to come on my show and insult me. It doesn't give you the right to diminish my work or act like I haven't earned what I have. I've been nothing but respectful to you since you walked on this stage. I deserve the same in return. Meghan's voice rises to almost a shout now, her composure completely shattered. Her face is flushed, her hands are shaking, and she's breathing hard. Insult you? You think I'm insulting you? You think this is what insults look like? You have absolutely no idea what it's like to be truly insulted. Try being called every horrible name in the book. Try opening the newspaper and seeing lies about you on the front page. Try having people make up stories about your character, your values, your intentions. Try being blamed for things that aren't your fault, for situations you had no control over. Try having strangers on the internet dissect your every move, your every word, your every outfit. Try having people you've never met decide they hate you for reasons that have nothing to do with reality. Then, after you've experienced all of that, after you've lived through that nightmare, come talk to me about insults. Come talk to me about respect. Come talk to me about what it means to be treated unfairly. The audience is completely silent now. Not a sound. Not a cough. Not a whisper. Not even the rustle of clothing. A few people look uncomfortable, now shifting in their seats, their eyes darting between Meghan and Andy. Others are riveted, leaning forward, unable to look away from the train wreck unfolding in front of them. This is the kind of moment people will talk about for years. Andy crosses his arms across his chest, his stance firm, his patience clearly wearing thin. His voice is steady, but there's no warmth left in it. Meghan, Everyone in this room can see what's happening right now. Every single person. You came on this show. I asked you one simple question, and you completely lost it. I've been nothing but respectful to you. I've tried to give you space to talk about what you want to talk about. I've tried to be understanding. But you're making this impossible. You're turning this into something it never had to be. Meghan points a finger at Andy, her hand shaking with anger. Respectful? You think this is respectful? Asking me about the people who made my life hell? Making me relive trauma on national television? That's your idea of respect? Andy doesn't back down. His voice is steady, controlled, but there's an edge to it now. I asked you how things were going with your family. That's it. That's all I asked. You're the one who turned this into a confrontation. You're the one who started yelling and making accusations. I'm trying to be professional here, but you're making it really difficult. Meghan takes a step closer to the desk, her voice dripping with disdain. Professional? Is that what you call this? Exploiting people's pain for entertainment? Digging into wounds just to get a reaction? You're not professional, Andy. You're a vulture. You and everyone else in this industry. The room goes ice cold. Andy's expression hardens. He's done being patient. He's done trying to placate her. Okay, that's enough. I've tried to be understanding. I've tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. But you don't get to come on my show and call me a vulture. You don't get to insult me and my work. This interview is over. Meghan lets out a harsh laugh. Oh, now you're kicking me off? Now you're ending the interview? That's rich. That's really rich. First, you provoke me, and then you act like I'm the problem. Andy signals to someone off camera. His voice is firm, final. I didn't provoke you. I asked you a question. You could have answered it. You could have declined to answer it. Instead, you chose to attack me. This is my show. So, and I'm asking you to leave. Now. Meghan rips the microphone off her dress, the wire tangling for a moment before she throws it onto the chair. Fine, I'm leaving. But let me tell you something. This is exactly why people hate the media. This is exactly why people like me can never get a fair shake. You're all the same. You pretend to care, but you're just looking for your next viral moment. Andy doesn't respond. He just watches as a producer approaches Meghan, trying to guide her off the stage. She shrugs off the producer's hand, stalking toward the exit on her own. The audience sits in stunned silence, not sure if they should applaud, gasp, or just sit there frozen. Just before she reaches the door, Meghan turns back around. Her face is flushed, her eyes blazing. She points at Andy one more time. You're going to regret this. You're going to regret treating me like this. Mark my words. Andy stands there, his arms still crossed, his expression unreadable. He waits until she's completely gone, until the door slams shut behind her, before he turns back to the camera. He takes a deep breath, runs a hand through his hair, and addresses the audience with a tired but genuine smile. Well, that was unexpected. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. The cameras cut, and the studio erupts into chaos. Producers are running around. Audience members are talking over each other, and Andy just stands there for a moment, processing what just happened. He shakes his head, almost in disbelief, before walking off the set. When the show comes back from the break, Andy is back in his seat, composed and professional. He addresses the camera with his signature charm, though there's a hint of weariness in his eyes. All right, folks, as you just saw, things got a little heated. I want to be clear. I have nothing but respect for everyone who comes on this show. I ask questions. That's my job. Sometimes those questions are tough, but they're always asked with the best intentions. He pauses, choosing his words carefully. If someone doesn't want to answer a question, all they have to do is say so. I would never force anyone to talk about something they're uncomfortable with. But what happened here tonight was not okay. I tried to be respectful. I tried to de-escalate the situation. But at a certain point, you have to draw a line. The audience applauds, and Andy gives them a grateful smile. He takes a sip of water, then continues. So, let's move on. We have a great show lined up for the rest of the hour. Let's focus on having some fun, shall we? And just like that, Andy moves forward. Because that's what professionals do. They don't dwell on the drama. They don't let one difficult guest derail the entire show. They keep going, they keep their composure, and they keep delivering for their audience. Backstage, Meghan is already gone, then having stormed out of the building without speaking to anyone. Her team scrambles to do damage control, but the video is already spreading online. Within minutes, clips of the confrontation are all over social media. People are taking sides, dissecting every word, every gesture, every expression. But the overwhelming consensus is clear. Andy Cohen handled the situation with grace and professionalism. He asked a fair question. He tried to de-escalate when things got heated. And he set a boundary when he needed to. He did everything right. Meghan, on the other hand, showed the world exactly who she is. Entitled, defensive, unable to handle even the mildest form of scrutiny. She walked onto that stage with an opportunity to connect with people, to show a different side of herself. Instead, she burned every bridge in sight. Back on the set, Andy wraps up the show with his usual energy and charm. He thanks the audience. He jokes with his co-host, Chet Blake, and he ends the night on a high note. Because at the end of the day, that's what separates the professionals from the pretenders. The ability to keep going, no matter what gets thrown at you. The ability to stay calm under pressure. The ability to know when to stand your ground. As the credits roll and the lights dim, Andy sits back in his chair for a moment, alone on the set. He lets out a long breath, shakes his head, and smiles to himself. It was a wild ride, but he made it through. He always does, and that is how 34 seconds